What's going on, boys and girls? John256 here. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Thor score streak and how to use it effectively and properly in multiplayer games. Some of you might already be pros at using this score streak, but I'm going to be giving you some helpful tips and tricks today to help you maximize the effectiveness of the Thor. So first off, what is the Thor? The Thor is a tactical high output response missile system with rapid launching capabilities, much like the Reaper from Modern Warfare 3 or the Lodestar from Black Ops 2. So one of the features of the Thor is the ability to toggle thermal vision on and off. Now this is especially helpful if you're playing against enemies who are using cold-blooded, which actually makes them undetectable to your thermal vision. So if you're one of those people who don't use cold-blooded very often, I'd suggest if you hear one of these things come in, get your ass inside as soon as possible. Another feature of the Thor is the ability to actually thrust around the map. Now, what does that mean? So if you are flying over a bunch of buildings and you see a bunch of people in those buildings, but you can't actually get your missile in there, you can boost your Thor around the map so that you can get to a better position to fire upon those enemies. This feature is especially helpful if you are playing on maps with tight alleyways and buildings that are really close together, so it gives you an opportunity to move your Thor into a position where you can take the enemies out. The final feature of the Thor, and definitely the most important feature to know about, is the firing modes and the ability to change between cluster and single fire rockets. So by default, you'll be starting off using the cluster fire rockets. These rockets you can track and guide into the enemies. I'd suggest using this firing mode for those maps with big open areas that enemies usually flock to. Now if you hit triangle on the PS4 or Y on the Xbox One, you can switch firing modes to the single fire mode. Unfortunately, with this missile you cannot guide it, so you have to make sure that you're very accurate and precise with your shots. This firing mode is definitely beneficial when those enemies are in those tight, hard to reach areas where you can precision guide one missile to take them out. Unfortunately, with this missile you cannot guide it, so you have to make sure that you're very accurate and precise with your shots. So one last tip, when using the cluster missile firing mode, I would suggest when you fire the missile, hit triangle or Y and switch over into the single fire rocket vision, which actually gives you a more zoomed in vision of the field where you can accurately guide your clusters into bigger groups of enemies. So that's it from me, boys and girls. Thank you again for tuning in for another video on Infinite Warfare. There'll be plenty more good stuff coming soon. Please stay tuned, and as always, see you in the next video.
Yeah.